If it happens in wrestling, it happens here. This is the Superkick Society. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Shutter Sports Media proudly presents the greatest wrestling podcast in the world, hosted by head of the table Cam Sterling and the main event Josh Alderman. This is the Superkick Society. Thanks for joining us today, Josh. How are you doing after tonight's crazy episode?
I'd say I am very excited, Cam. Now, just for the record, we are recording this pretty much immediately after Cena's
Nice and
retirement
fresh.
match, right fresh, raw, off the dome. So definitely still feeling those feels, feeling those emotions. I finally have to grow up. Childhood is over.
Yeah.
John Cena is gone, riding off into the sunset. Whew, we have a lot to talk about on this debut episode. So let's get to it, Cam.
Yeah, I know there were some polarizing takes on how that match ended. I'm excited to see your thoughts on the controversial ending to that match. But yeah, arguably or maybe solidified now the GOAT of WWE, John Cena, has officially hung up the running shoes in his case, and he has retired after losing by submission to the ring general Gunther. I was shocked at that outcome, but I'm not surprised. Thing is, I feel very strongly about the matchup they got and how that came to be. I don't think it would have been good if it was a rookie like Carmelo Hayes was being pushed for that spot. I know somebody like Obafemi was being pushed for that spot. So, or Javon Evans was in the mix as well. But if somebody like that who has no incredible accolades as far as WWE level quite yet, they will be known as just the guy who beat John Cena. And I don't think that will have as much leverage as people think. So I think going with Gunther was an established guy, isn't crazy groundbreaking to the storyline, and I think it was the right move overall. You could have gone with a legend like Sheamus to kind of fulfill history that has been there. You could have
Mhm.
gone with a guy like Jey Uso, who's been around the block and hasn't really had a fight with John Cena, which would have been kind of cool, or LA Knight, who's on the older side and needs a push. But
You can say that again.
I think Gunther is the perfect guy to be like where the outcome is understandable that John Cena loses.
No, I think that's absolutely fair to say. My little controversy isn't with the selection of Gunther as Cena's final opponent. I mean, he got the symphony back. He got the kick-ass music back. That's the good stuff. He got
Love it.
his sick ring jacket back. Like, this is final boss aura. Sure, he's shed some pounds since his Walter days, but
Mhm.
he's definitely still that same killer that he once was. And
I haven't seen
this,
John Cena take chops like that in his
oh
entire
yeah.
career.
And that's the thing. He has final boss aura. You talk about wrestlers who really bring a level of, oh no, when they step into the ring. Just, you never know what to expect in a good way. And you know that Gunther brings that energy, brings that aura. And if anyone on this current roster, given age, experience, talent levels, readiness for that spot, there isn't a better option. You know, Gunther is the best pick available to bring Cena to a good, solid match because ultimately it isn't about the match, it's the story. But you know, you can still get a good match out of him with Gunther across the ring.
Very much so. I also saw some early controversy of how the match ended with the submission. They're like,
Oof.
what? John Cena lost his final match? That's impossible. But if you look at it, It's I find it very poetic. The guy that never gives up taps
Gave
out.
up.
That is the definition of giving up. You saw the smile on his face in the submission. He knew his career was over. He knew he had nothing left in the tank and he tapped.
I
And that is such a symbolic ending to his career that he gives up when he knows it's time. And I think giving that Gunther win to him via tap out, and I'm actually really looking forward to the track that Gunther's going on. I think they're going with him being like the career beater.
mm-hmm.
He's in the running for the AJ Styles match coming next year because he's on the track to retiring. He's got a long, long feud with Sheamus that he could end his career as well. He already ended Goldberg's career, so I think Gunther could be down that road. But as far as this John Cena match, I think it was the perfect poetic ending to John Cena's career.
I think that's fair to say. And again, it was never going to be about the match. Not a five-star Matt Classic by any means, but that was to be expected. I mean, given Cena's age, his stamina at this point in his career, it was really more about the spectacle, about sports entertaining people, not the wrestling itself. And I think the match really went above and beyond to achieve that. Cena fighting back, using the energy, never giving up. And they hammered home the point in the build-up that Gunther is the guy that makes people give up, tap out, quit when their backs are against the wall. That, I think,
Final
is the
boss aura right there.
exactly that's this top guy manifest in the persona of Gunther. You know, you've got this next level guy that you bring in that is really the antithesis of John Cena. Cena is over the top. He's cartoonish. He is larger than life. And you got this big, mean,
Ring
meaty
general.
Austrian across the ring from him who is all about the basics, the tradition, bringing things back to the mat quite literally. I think that match and that story that they were building was perfect. Do I necessarily agree with Cena tapping out? Not exactly, because he never gives up. Oh, his final match, he finally decides to give up. I mean, not sure I agree with that choice, and the fans certainly didn't either.
No, I saw some crazy Brock Lesnar defeating the streak level faces in the crowd when that
Oh, yeah.
happened. It was the childhood being sunken out of everybody in that arena. It
Stolen.
was like seeing your childhood idol tap out. Like when will I have to check the match logs, but like when was the last time that John Cena tapped out? Even like if ever.
Exactly.
I can't remember, at least in the last decade, a time where John Cena tapped out. Maybe in the Rusev feud with the hype of the Accolade, but even then, I don't
Even then.
remember. I don't remember John Cena tapping out vividly like this. This was blatant. This was very much on purpose and very much planned, not spur of the moment ending.
Hmm.
And people are blaming Triple H for making that ending. That is not up to Triple H. That is up to the performance for performers to carry out an outcome, to carry out a story. It's up to the performance on how to end it and how to act it out, and that is how John Cena wanted to go out. So this is not on Triple H. This is not a bad booking whatsoever. And I truly think it was a very poetic way to end. It's not a happy ending, but it's a poetic ending, and I think John
Hmm.
Cena needed an ending like that.
Yeah, and that's the thing with these kind of retirement matches. These folks never win. That's the thing. The retiring veteran never wins. They pass the torch, they hit their big moves, they pop the crowd, but ultimately they ride off into the sunset with a loss on their ledger. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. You pass the torch, you ignite the next generation of stars. And with controversies like this, absolutely, it falls on the booker, but it is Cena's choice. You have to imagine they left the decision up to Cena. It was going to be a loss. but they left the decision up to Cena and that wry smile,
Yeah,
the quiet, subtle tap out. He knew it was his time. He was at peace with it. He gave up on his terms. And I think that is an excellent story to tell. The execution, sure, the criticism can fall on Triple H, but that ending, that last shot of Cena, the smile on his face, hand tapping Gunther's arm, tapping out to the sleeper hold, that I think is poetic, is a good story. And it comes from Cena, not from Triple H.
exactly. And I think if Cena actually won, that just cuts off any storylines because he's leaving
He's
for
gone.
good.
That's it.
There is no storyline for him to carry out with a win. If he loses, he's done. And I think that was the per I wouldn't have changed a thing about how that match was executed.
Yeah, I think, again, the match itself, no five-star classic, but it
Yeah.
was never the point.
It was the hype leading up to it. It was the
Yeah.
entire year of incredible stories, incredible nostalgia. It was a fantastic ride this entire year, and we'll talk more about that ride later on this episode, but there's been some star-studded wrestling other than the John Cena tournament and the John Cena final match across the board, across the networks. And let's take a look into this week in wrestling. SmackDown was fairly dull, to say the least. The main event
You could say
was
that.
no five-star either. Zelina Vega and Aleister Black get knocked off by Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest. Would I buy a ticket to see that live? I don't know, but I like the incorporation of Aleister Black into the main event scene now. I've been waiting for this since his NXT days. He is such a good technical wrestler, and Zelina Vega is back in the main event scene too. She has been fantastic.
A lot of
I
raw
was
talent,
very much so, very much so. Very good
unpolished at
technical duo.
times, but oh yeah, great technical duo. With Vega, there's still a rising star. Yes, in terms of, sports years, she's getting a little up there, but that's the thing. With wrestling, aside from any other sport, you see folks going well into their late 30s, early 40s, still
That's around
performing
the
at a
average
high
age
level.
nowadays.
That's one
It's
of the biggest
crazy.
changes. And I love it. It's all the better for it. I mean, is it good when your entire main event scene is dominated by 40-year-olds? No. But does it give people opportunities to grow and change and develop in the later stages of their career? Absolutely. And I think there's still time for Zelina Vega to achieve that. But that match was not a good indicator of that change coming. Again, I want to see the best for Zelina Vega. Again, still plenty of unpolished, bit of raw talent. Pairing her up with Alistair should be a good combination to really bring out more of a character, more of a storytelling side from Vega and
It's
allow
just
her
some
to,
instant chemistry, yeah.
yeah. I mean, of course, you're going to have chemistry with your significant other. I think that's a good pairing on paper. On execution in that match, maybe not so much.
Now, another point of tonight's event, as well as SmackDown, I am so unbelievably excited for Obafemi to come to the main
Oh,
roster. He is so ready. He's so polished. He's so over. Obafemi might be my favorite wrestler in all of wrestling right now. He is so good. He's like he makes every punch, every move,
so impactful.
every finisher so impact. That's the word. He's like every single move has a purpose and it's
Hmm.
done with authority, and it's so good to watch. He did so well with the Cody match today. He put away Drew McIntyre, which I would be that is a dream match in the upcoming years. Obafemi versus Drew McIntyre would feed families. But yeah, Obafemi, his promos are getting much better than he was in his early days in NXT. And he, oh my God, he's jacked. He looks jacked compared to most people on the main roster too. I'm so excited for Obafemi to get out of NXT and finally he like it's him and Braun Breaker for the next
Oh,
decade. It like
don't tempt me with a good time, Cam.
oh my Lord, Obafemi is next up, dude. People
Okay.
talk about Braun Breaker being next up. Obafemi's next up too,
It's
man.
those two. Those two are the future. And to quote Big E from a long, long time ago, there is nothing finer than two big, meaty men bumping meat, getting in there,
Exactly.
throwing their weight around.
Exactly.
Strong guys, big guys, killers. That is
I
exactly what comes to mind with
I
Femi
actually can't
and
remember
Breaker.
if Obafemi and Braun Breaker actually had like a pay-per-view fight
I
in
genuinely don't think
NXT.
they have.
I don't remember if they did, maybe over the North American Championship. I think that was after Braun Breaker got the push up to the main roster. So that would be another dream match. And that's 100% going to be a WrestleMania main event one day.
Oh, yeah.
But in the meantime, Obafemi looked fantastic against Cody Rhodes. He kept up. The work around the announcement desk was really nice. It was
Hmm.
very well done. And the incorporation of Drew McIntyre, because like whenever you get stagnant in a storyline and don't have much to go off, you just throw Drew McIntyre in his pissy mood to to beat people up, and then they team up to beat him up. So I think that was a good move. Didn't do much, but it added some foil into the two protagonists going at each other, and I thought it was a really entertaining match.
Yeah, it builds off their promo from SmackDown, tying it back into This Week in Wrestling.
Hmm.
The promo segment between Cody and Obafemi, I mean, he is ready. He is ready for the main roster, for the top, for those main event pay-per-view spots. Obafemi is ready. This kid is something special, man. Like, weld the rocket to him and send him sky high. Let this man cook. Just a big guy who can cut a mean, intimidating promo that works either as a face or a heel, and then has the in ring skills, strength, and ability to back it up. Total package.
That's the perfect way to describe it. He's the total package. He's got speed, he's got power, he's got finesse. But let's go over to the other side of the river. AEW has been putting on some five-star classics just this week. So I want to hear your thoughts on some collision matches and some
Ooh.
continental matches, and it's been looking good over there.
All right, let me talk.
Hmm.
So,
Let me talk to you.
yeah. So, taking things actually back to Wednesday, we saw the crowning of the first ever AEW Women's Tag Team Champions,
Yeah,
Harley
Willow.
Cameron,
Yep,
Willow Nightingale, Babes of
love it.
Wrath.
That's the perfect first choice. Willow has
Oh,
been
yeah.
fantastic this entire year. She deserves some gold. I wouldn't mind seeing her go after the AEW Women's Championship,
I
but
think you got
I
that
think this is a
feud.
good start.
Yeah, you got that feud built in, pre-made with Statlander down the line for Willow to
Hmm.
go after that top title.
And that would be a good match too.
And I really want to draw attention, use this platform to highlight Harley Cameron. Like, the development over the last few years from her has been insane. Basically, her entire career has been televised. Like, she came into the industry being a model, a bodybuilder, a singer, like less than 4 years ago, starting training with Tyler Breeze of all people, and eventually gets a spot on AEW Dark. Some dark matches on YouTube, jobbing out, loss after loss after loss, but she makes the most of each one of those opportunities and then eventually gets chances to show her natural charisma and her in ring talent and rises up the card because of it. And the fans love her. Just fantastic. And the thing is, she's only 31.
She's got a
She's only,
lot of room to
oh,
grow.
yeah. Like she's only going up from here. So amazing development from Harley Cameron over the last few years. It's great to see her finally holding some gold. Oh yeah, big moments. And then later on in the night, want to talk about big moments. Hangman and Swerve had a big brawl with Shibata and Hobbs of the Ops,
Hmm.
And it was wild. It was sick. There were chains, staple guns, a Christmas tree was even thrown around. And
This
then the two,
Hangman and Swerve dynamic has been so cool to watch. Oh
genuinely,
my
one of
Lord.
the best stories of the last 20 years, I'd say. Since the 2000s, one of the best stories in wrestling.
I wouldn't put it past it. Oh my, it's been gold after gold after gold.
The tension, fantastic.
And I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself because this is actually my ace of the week. But
Ooh,
Speedball versus Kyle
yes.
Fletcher
Here we
might be
go.
match of the year. I would not be shocked if that's match of the year for any wrestling fan
Oh, yeah.
across the country. Speedball has been so entertaining
Good
since
Canadian
going
boy.
over to AEW, and Kyle Fletcher, we talk about Obafemi and Braun Breaker over in WWE. Kyle Fletcher's next up.
He's the equivalent.
He's gonna have the AEW World Championship in the next year. I wouldn't put it past it. He has looked so good. That Hangman Adam Page first Kyle Fletcher match in the summer that we actually saw live in
Yep.
Toronto,
That we got to go
which was
see.
fantastic. That
Oh,
really
so
put him
good.
over the edge. That proved that Kyle Fletcher is a main eventer right now.
Oh,
And
yeah.
putting him against a speedster like Mike Bailey, who is not his style at all and can still put up a 5-star match is ridiculous.
Oh, yeah.
Oh
And
my
that's what I
God.
love about these kinds of tournaments in wrestling, where, sure, you have this online crowd crying, oh, but there's no stories. Okay. You get this banger ass match from two of the world's
That's
greatest.
the thing. Like you get such but like best of both worlds. I find
A clash of
WWE
styles.
with WWE's ever since Triple H took over has been like a never-ending movie. Great storylines,
Hmm.
great payoffs. It has been fantastic from a writing perspective, but when you go over to AEW and want some cold hard 5-star matches,
Oh, yeah.
you get them. You get them week after week. It is ridiculous of how technically gifted the entire AEW roster is.
Hmm.
When you go from guys like Bandito in the fucking tag team division.
Oh,
And then you got Will Ospreay, who's a completely different style, but who's incredibly technical as well. And then, like the age gap with Bryan Danielson, he's a totally different era, but still has that technical ability. And like you have it all over the card. It is crazy.
it's just
Like
absurd. Okay.
and now you have a clashing of main eventers like Kyle Fletcher and mid-carders who might be main eventers after this match, like Mike Bailey.
Solid
Uh,
hands.
it is simply all over the card.
I mean, you had the agility and the kicks of Speedball going up against the power and ferocity of Fletcher. Folks, if you didn't already, please go watch highlights, go watch the full match
Go
wherever
watch some
you
tag
can.
team matches with Mike Bailey and TNA. You will
Oh, yeah.
learn yourself something.
Yeah. Get some stuff.
He
Like,
is
words
next.
cannot describe the pace and passion in that match. Just go watch it. All right. And then the night was capped off by an AEW title defense by the one and only Samoa Joe.
Samoa Joe, I've been waiting for a top of the line championship run from Samoa Joe for years.
He had it
That
last year with the AEW title,
yeah.
and now he's kind of
It wasn't
getting.
incredibly long though. I like oh my God. It brings me back to his NXT championship run. It was so cold, and that match with Eddie Kingston was very good.
Yeah,
I'm
that
not a
was the match in question.
huge Eddie Kingston fan of like his style, his wonky style of wrestling.
Hmm.
His character work and his like promo work has been fantastic,
Oh
but
yeah.
his wonky style, I wasn't sure how to mix with just the bruteness of Samoa Joe.
Hmm.
It paid off really well.
Oh yeah, you got this hard-hitting slugfest, like a throwback to 90s All Japan matches. That is really, really good stuff. Like big throwback vibes to that whole match. A slugfest, ferocious, right to the very end. I may or may not have been rooting for an Eddie title win, but I
That would have been
think his
cool.
time is going to come soon,
I
relatively
definitely
soon.
think it's on the brink of an Eddie Kingston championship run. Um, they could make this a trilogy match. We'll see if Eddie Kingston goes back and forth with Samoa Joe, but I want more Samoa Joe championship promos, man. It's so cold. So cold.
Just too good. Now, speaking of Samoa Joe, jumping forward to Saturday Night Collision, we got the announcement of not one, but two title defenses for the upcoming Worlds and pay-per-view in Chicago. So, Chris Statlander defending the women's title against Jamie Hayter. That is just going to be hard-hitting, powerful
Gold.
match.
That's gonna be gold. Oh my Lord.
Fantastic.
I thought Jamie Hayter was gonna win it at All Out, but when Chris Statlander actually won the championship, and I've been waiting for this one-on-one match for a
Hmm.
while.
Like genuinely two of the most powerful, strongest, tenacious women in the business today going head to head. That is something else entirely, man. That is going to be a fantastic match. But you know what else is going to be a fantastic match? Samoa Joe versus Swerve versus Hangman for the title.
God,
Talk about a dream main event that really brings all the stories
the
together of
dy
like the
the
last three
dynamics in that
years.
match.
The
The
story,
dynamics
man.
in that match will be crazy. Samoa Joe is definitely going to drive a wedge in between Hangman and Swerve.
You think?
1,000,000%. In the lead up to that match, I think Samoa Joe is going to try and drive a wedge, and we may have another golden rivalry between Swerve and Hangman if Samoa Joe squeaks out of this alive.
Oof. The
We're getting
brutality.
blessed. We're getting blessed over at AEW.
And speaking of, we also got some more banger matches. Takeshita versus Claudio Castagnoli and Speedball versus his tag partner Kevin Knight. Again, folks, just go watch it. Words can't describe just the power in the
Yeah.
Claudio and Takeshita match and the speed and athleticism on display between Speedball and Kevin Knight later on. Fantastic stuff,
Like
man.
you don't even need a championship to like represent the technical abilities that will be going on in both
Oh
of
yeah.
those matches. It's gonna be so even. Oh my Lord, Claudio versus Takeshita is gonna.
It cooked. I'm
It's a
sorry, you gotta
dream
go watch
match.
it.
It's a dream match.
Two hosses throwing down. Now
Exactly.
with those matches, we do have the updated standings for the Continental Classic. So it's 3 points for a win, 1 point for a draw. The top two advance to World's End. Uh, First place in the blue group faces second place in the gold, and then vice versa. In the semifinals, winners go on to face each other for the Continental title at the end of the tournament. And the interesting part of it all is these are some very interesting standings. So in the blue league, you got Takeshita on top with 7 points, Claudio with 7 points, Orange Cassidy with three, Mascara Dorado with three, John Moxley with three. He is always lurking in the
He's
background.
he,
He'll
he's
be a
always
threat.
there.
And then Roderick Strong with no points
Oh,
as of
poor
yet. As of
Rod.
yet. And then you look over at the Gold League, and again, a lot thickens. Speedball with 6 points, tied with Fletcher on 6 points, tied with Okada on six
Oh my
points.
God.
And then close behind, Kevin Knight and Pac with 3 points each. And then rounding out the bottom of the table, everyone loves him, Jack Perry, replacing the injured Darby Allin. The combined points between the two of them, 0.
Jack
But
Perry's Cinderella run, baby. Here
expect
we
him to get
go.
a big underdog upset victory a little later down the line.
A lot of action going on in AEW, but let's broaden the spectrum here, Josh. I already said my ace of the week because I was so hyped about that Speedball Kyle Fletcher match.
Oh
But
yeah.
what was your ace of the week?
Okay. So I was probably going to pick either Speedball or Fletcher myself, but then I did a little bit of research into what went on in the last week in wrestling to pick my
Hmm.
ace of the week for this debut episode of the Superkick Society. And I'm going to have to go with the ace of pro wrestling Noah, Kaito Kiyomiya. Let me dive into the story a little bit more. So, last Sunday, December 7th, at Pro Wrestling Noah's aptly titled Kaito Kiyomiya 10-year anniversary show, really original stuff. The man himself opened up the show by facing and defeating his debut opponent from way back in 2015, Hitoshi Kumano. The duo decked out in their gear from a decade ago. Then the show had some back to back matches with some rookies, kind of spotlighting the next gen in Noah, followed up by an 8-man tag match featuring Kaito Kiyomiya and his All Rebellion faction teammates against a smattering of old rivals like Jack Morris and Naomichi Marufuji. And then immediately afterwards came the main event, which was Kaito Kiyomiya up against his longtime career-long rival Ken O in a 60-minute Iron Man match filled with callbacks and references to their past matches, their mentors, Misawa and Shinzaki, respectively. Just crazy stuff. Keno ultimately won the match 4-3, but Kiyomiya won the day and my heart, wrestling close to 90 minutes across 3 separate matches in a single night. He is my ace, my workhorse, my goat of the week.
90 minutes, bro.
Across
Can't even
3 different
imagine.
matches.
Oh my God, that's half a Raw.
Or half a
That's
Smackdown
ridiculous. Or half
starting
a
in January.
SmackDown now. Oh, speaking of SmackDown, my flop of the week. Actually, no. Now that I
Oh,
think about it, I'm not giving it to Aleister Black and Zelina Vega. That match was okay. They don't deserve flop of the week. They're finally in the main event scene on at least the weekly episodic shows.
all
My
right.
flop of the week is poor Drew McIntyre.
No.
Comes out to ruin a match, then gets beat up by both guys. Drew McIntyre takes a huge L tonight, breaking up Boba Femi and Cody Rhodes. Continues, might be the biggest L taker in all of sports.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of L's to be the worst L taker in all of
There's
sports.
some tough competition.
There's some tough competition, is right. But Drew McIntyre, like, he's such a good talent. He's such a good character, and he just does nothing.
It just wasn't his week.
He's always it just wasn't his week. He'll be back at ruining matches next week. He'll be fine. He won't get beat up as much next week. But
Here's
I
hoping.
like that. There needs to be another championship run for Drew McIntyre in the
Oh,
near
yeah.
future. It's got to be.
It's
It's got
coming.
to
It's
be.
coming. Hold out hope. Delusion is the solution.
Exactly. I want it to be against Braun Breaker. Breaker's going to get it sometime soon.
Oh,
Whether
yeah.
that's
Guarantee
a
it.
Royal Rumble win leading to it, or whether that's his fight against CM Punk on the anniversary of Netflix on or Raw on Netflix. But he's gonna get it. He's gonna get it
Oh,
in the
yeah.
next 6 months, 100%.
All right.
Bet the house on it.
All right. So for me, flop of the week, it's Logan Paul. Everyone's favorite celebrity, quote unquote, YouTuber, quote unquote, and wrestler, massive, quote unquote. Whew, he is as painful to watch in the ring as I would be if I stepped into the squared circle. No training, no athleticism, love the game. I would probably be just as bad as Logan Paul is right now.
Josh Alderman versus Logan Paul at WrestleMania 50. Book it.
Book it.
Get it there. Get it there in Vegas.
Impulsive, we coming for
Yep.
you.
hmm Getting knocked off his pedestal. Anyways, why is Logan Paul your flop of the week?
He was in the main event of Raw this week. And
That's
that's
enough.
that's enough. Yeah. I think no, in all honesty, he was in the main event. That's a spot that you need to show up and show out. And Logan Paul only did the first part. He showed up and he put in a botchtacular performance, boring as ever. He has athleticism. I will give him that. and I do so begrudgingly, but he just lacks the storytelling ability, the talent in ring to have a good match with a good worker like L.A. Knight. Yeah, in the main event of Raw. That's such a prestigious spot, and he just didn't deliver. Flop of the week by and large.
I wouldn't put it past the third best wrestler in the division at all to be the flop of the week. But
Whoa, whoa, whoa,
back.
whoa. You're heavily discounting Paul Heyman's in ring abilities. Logan Paul is the fourth best
Oh,
wrestler in the
actually,
division.
Seth Rollins injured is probably better than Logan Paul, anyways. And I'd give the Mask Man a bit better than Logan Paul as well. So was that sixth?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'd give him
Okay,
I'd give him top six.
that's fair. I think that's reasonable. All right. Actually, side tangent segment. Who's under the mask? Who do you think is the mystery attacker helping out the Vision on Raw, SmackDown pay-per-views? He's been everywhere. He's done everything. I will make my point real quick and then pass it over to you. I think it's Omos. What do you think?
Ah, I could give it to Omos. I was thinking El Torito return would be crazy as well.
No.
He scaled that cage pretty fast, man.
You
It
heard it
could
here
be El
first.
Torito. But on a real note, I can't see it being anybody but Austin Theory.
Yeah.
I thought Ethan Page was a pretty cool shout as well. I think those two and Bronson Reed were the three in the talks of the other Vision member after Braun Breaker was chosen because we all knew it was going to be a mirror of evolution. There were going to be Seth Rollins being Triple H, Braun Breaker being Batista, Paul Heyman being Ric Flair. They had to add a Randy Orton.
A kid.
And exactly. Now, I don't know if Bronson Reed fit that mold, but I think Austin Theory would have been the perfect guy, and I think they're doing it regardless. So,
I think that's fair to say,
Ethan Page is around the same age
but
as
not the
Seth
same
Rollins to begin
size.
with. Ethan Page is a bit more swole than Austin
He's
Theory.
a
I don't
bigger
know if he could
guy.
get up there, but he would be fantastic in that role to begin with. Um, but I think Austin Theory has been like itching for that push for years,
His career
and they
hinges on it.
never got it. Like that United States feud was the best he got. The Money in the Bank was a joke. The Grayson Waller and Theory team was a joke.
It's a waste of time.
I think this is his push,
This makes or
finally.
break his career.
I wouldn't put it past that actually. Yeah, if Austin Theory is just not under that mask, I don't know what push could actually get him over the hump.
There's just nothing that can save him beyond this. And if it's not him, then who? And realistically, I want to make my point. Sadly, not Omos. Big ups to my giant. Um, I think based on pure agility and more of a wiry frame, total outside pick, but Montez Ford.
I saw that going around too. I would
Yeah,
love that. But
it's
the
the
Street
agility that
Profits
does
are
it.
so ingrained in the tag team division,
It's true.
and it's pretty slim in NXT or in WWE right now.
Mm.
So, like, I wouldn't be shocked if it was Montez Ford, but I wouldn't be shocked if Angelo Dawkins gets released if they put Montez Ford on a singles run. I'm that serious about how much Montez Ford brings to that tag
Oh,
team.
yeah.
And like Angelo Dawkins was a singles guy in NXT before
Oh,
Ford
yeah.
got here. He was a
Real ones
singles
know.
guy, but he didn't do anything. And I don't think Dawkins could have a singles run. I
No.
don't think he's got the mic chops like Montez does. He doesn't have the move set like Montez does. He's quick on his feet for a bigger guy, but that only gets you so far.
Hmm.
And Montez Ford would be great on a singles run, don't get me wrong. But the Street Profits are arguably the best tag team in WWE right now. Like, I'd be
That is a
shocked if they.
spicy take.
It's a spicy take, I know. But as far as chemistry and as far as story revolving the tag team itself, not just Stardom,
Hmm.
like the AJ Styles and Dragon Lee, of course they're like the best wrestling tag team in WWE. But as far as
But they're
story,
thrown
as far as
together.
chemistry, as far as history, I think the Street Profits could be the best in WWE right now.
Ooh.
So I think Austin Theory needs a push more than Montez Ford, even though I'd like Montez Ford in that role more.
Theory makes a lot more sense, but yeah, Montez Ford getting a singles push, probably at the expense of
They tried to
Dawkins.
do it in the Elimination Chamber,
I remember that.
um, and I know he was in talks for Money in the Bank as well, which would have been really cool. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I think they missed the hype. It's kind of like the LA. He was getting that same hype train around the LA Knight hype train when he should have won Money in the Bank and didn't.
Hmm.
Montez Ford was in that hype train around Elimination Chamber that year, and they just didn't pull the trigger, and now he's just in the tag team division again. So eventually, when Angelo Dawkins is less mobile and people get sick of the Street Profits like they did the New Day,
Yeah.
I think that's when you pull the trigger on a Montez Ford heel turn and make him a singles competitor like they did with Jey Uso, which
All
was
right.
massive. I just don't think now's the time, and I think Theory needs it more now than Montez does.
Well said, and I do agree with you there. All right. It's now time for the segment I've been dreading since we started recording this episode. Break out your gown and gavel. It's time for wrestling storyline courtroom.
Now, to keep it on the GOAT story of tonight, John Cena is the subject of our booking court. We're looking at the heel turn of the
Oh,
century. Left some bitter taste, left some sweet taste to some people, but I'm bringing this case to court. I do not think John Cena should have turned heel. And if, and as I don't think, if I even were to think that it was good, they did not execute it correctly. So this case is in the courts, and it's up to you to defend it, Josh.
like I said, I've been dreading this. I'm literally looking down at the notes I've made for this podcast episode, and all I've written for myself is good luck, LOL. So, all right, time to do the impossible and
Try to
defend.
defend the most liked wrestler turning heel.
All right, so you mentioned earlier in the podcast, Cam, that WWE these days, under the regime of Triple H, has been more about moments, about storytelling. And I mean, what is a bigger moment that can send shockwaves through both wrestling and pop culture than a heel turn from John Cena? Sure, the aftermath was a little shaky, but that initial execution, you had the pop culture draw of, oh, John Cena's a bad guy now? You had the pop culture draw of The Rock was orchestrating it the whole time. You had the pop culture draw of Travis Scott's involved in this too. How deep, how
Fiend,
far down
fiend,
does this go?
fiend.
How? No, don't give me flashbacks. Ugh. All right. The pop culture shockwaves were immense right from the get-go, right from that moment in Toronto. That is a moment that will stand in time forever. And John Cena's retirement run was going to be a replay of the greatest hits. Sure, that's all well and good. But you know what? Sometimes you need to add a little spice. Sometimes you need the steak and the sizzle. And this heel turn brought the sizzle. It added a new wrinkle into that storyline, that ever evolving pathway towards retirement that John Cena was going down. Now you get to see exactly what should have happened many, 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 many years ago with villainous John Cena, taking out his wrath on his opponents, using the underhanded tactics that he denounced for years on end, and turning his back on the fans that both embraced and envied him for all of these years. It was a good, well written story. And you know what? I will not hear anything regardless. John Cena turning heel is all about the moments, the stories, and the execution. That will stand in time as one of the greatest pop culture and wrestling moments of all time. And you know what they say, moments make money. I rest my case.
Now, riddle me this. How understandable is it that the leader of all-time Make-A-Wish givers of any celebrity in the world suddenly hates all fans? Does that sound like good booking?
No, it does not. Counsel.
Okay, I just wanted to be sure
Mm-hmm.
because if I were to be in the situation where I get to make a wish and I choose and I choose John Cena, and then 10 years later John Cena comes out and says, "You know what? I hate you guys." I wouldn't be very happy. I like that I used my one make a wish on a guy who now hates me. Eh, I might have used it to meet DeMar DeRozan instead. I'm just saying.
You know what? I there is no way I can argue with that. You make a good case. The prosecution has a very strong case, but we will leave it up to the jury. Let us know who you think won. Was it me who had to defend the impossible, or was it Cam who pulled the
Regrets
trump
his
card?
make a wish.
Yep, regrets his make a wish, hypothetical make a wish choice
Hypothetical make a wish.
of face John Cena, only to regret it when it becomes time for heel John Cena.
Well,
Wow.
we'll leave that up to the jury on Instagram or Twitter, now X actually, or TikTok at the Superkick Society to
Cheap
see
plug.
whether it was a good booking or whether it was a bad booking or whether the execution is what sold it all together. But that is it for this week's booking court. Now on to a little bit more of a chill segment to let Josh take a breather after that one.
Thankfully. Thanks a lot, Cam.
Let's go over this week's edition of Superkick Society Mount Rushmore. It's a classic Mount Rushmore. Wherever you've seen it on social media, it is the exact same thing, but we look at some deeper WWE topics and to once again connect it to the GOAT, John Cena. We're looking at our personal Mount Rushmores for John Cena matches. There's a lot to look into. He has had thousands of matches to decipher through. And Josh, I'm asking you to pick four of them, the four best John Cena matches in your opinion. This could be some symbolic effects, some nostalgia, some technical masterpieces. It's whatever you feel is Cena's best four.
All right, putting me on the hot seat right out of the gate. All right, I'm gonna start off with my personal pick, probably my personal favorite match of all time, Cena versus AJ Styles at SummerSlam 2016. Goats trading shots, trading finishers, trading big time moves and moments back and forth. Fantastic. The story was awesome at the time. Little Josh loved that so much, and it was a genuinely fantastic
All
match.
my homies love Little Josh.
That's a very bad quote that could be taken out of context.
Whoa!
Whoa! Our first viral moment, and it's all the homies love Little Josh. All right, keeping things on track here. My next pick would be Cena versus Daniel Bryan at SummerSlam 2013. One
Love
of the
it.
greatest underdog stories of all time in Daniel Bryan. going up against Super Cena. I mean, that you can't write it better than that. What is a bigger monument? What is a bigger obstacle to take down on your
That
path
match
towards the
set the
top
tone
title?
for the next 3 years as well with the
Exactly.
the formation of the Authority. That was massive.
What bigger obstacle is there than John Cena in 2013? Like, it doesn't
That's
get
Super
crazier than
Cena.
that.
That's the Rock era. That's the Super Rock, like the Cena Rock era,
Mm-hmm.
Cena Randy Orton era. You cannot get any bigger than that.
All right. Off of pure atmosphere. The match itself, a little muddled, I'll admit, especially given the context, but the atmosphere and the vibes around it were second to none. That's right. It is John Cena versus Rob Van Dam
Oh,
at
that's not where I thought you were
ECW
going,
One Night
but I
Stand
love it.
2006. And then to cap it all off, I mean, legendary story, legendary moments, all wrapped into one. Probably the highest point WWE had hit in years. Money in the Bank 2011, CM Punk versus John Cena, the summer of Punk,
That
ill-fated
is my
as it
one
may have
repeat.
been.
That is my one repeat. Can't
Ooh,
go wrong with 2011 Money in the Bank.
yeah. I mean, ill-fated as it may have been, the Summer of Punk starting off like it did. And again, this is Fruity Pebbles era John Cena. There is no bigger task, there is no bigger opponent for CM Punk to really get over his character, and Cena put in the work to make that happen. That is my Mount Rushmore. Cam, I flipped the script. I turn things over to you now. Lay it
Well,
down.
since you stole one of them, I actually had an honorable mention, so I might just put
Oh,
that in my Mount Rushmore over the Summer of Punk to give the fans a little bit more variety because this is a hot take. This is one I have serious connection with. This is one of my favorite wrestlers of all time in his debut in his hometown. I'm going with Sami Zayn's debut in the
oh,
US Open Challenge.
too good.
Introduced by Bret Hart to face Super Cena once again at his prime. And NXT's Sami Zayn comes out to his old theme song and blows the roof off in his first match on the main roster in that US Open Challenge. It was so technical. There were actually moments that you thought the underdog from the underground could actually pull it off, which was crazy during that US Open Challenge to even think of Sami Zayn being the one to do it. But that one just holds a special place in my heart. It's one of the that's when I was in my prime of watching wrestling. That was one of my favorite wrestlers, and that made little Cam very happy in that moment as well because that was coming off a big injury when Kevin Owens powerbombed him on the apron.
Hmm.
So I was very excited to see Sami Zayn get that opportunity. Didn't come out on top, but that John Cena did great work with Sami in that match.
Damn, that's a good pick.
Number two. This is a bit of a tweak, let's say, but I'm going Team Cena versus Team Authority at 2014's Survivor Series, the iconic Dolph
Okay.
Ziggler comeback. There were so many heel turns, so many dynamics going into that match, coming out of that match. I thought we were about to see a Dolph Ziggler superhero run go after the championship. It didn't flow like that, but we saw a heel turn of the Big Show coming into the Authority, leaving Ziggler helpless. We saw the debut of Sting in WWE, which was massive to
Hmm.
say the least. It was
Unprecedented.
the biggest star in wrestling that was never in WWE. That was unprecedented to say the least. And overall it was a very well executed match. It was not believed Ziggler would come back, especially a guy like Dolph Ziggler who has never had that opportunity on the main card. And I think although it didn't involve Cena that much, he went out fairly early. I think that match and Cena being the leader of that team was a very well executed program. And that was the first fall of the Authority that we saw in a span of about a year and a half since that Daniel Bryan match in 2013. So I think the scale of that match, the nostalgia of the OG Survivor Series match. That is one of my personal favorite Survivor Series matches of all time. And it's once again in my prime of wrestling. And that's some of the best wrestling before we had Roman Reigns being shoved down our throats in 2017 to 2020 range. So that was great storyline, and it was a well executed match.
You're two for
Now,
two off the top.
now I got two one-on-ones, two well-executed one-on-ones that go under the radar when you think of John Cena. When you think of John Cena, you think of his Edge matches, you think of his Rock matches, you think of the CM Punk matches. This is one of my favorite Ruthless Aggression rivalries, period. I'm picking John Cena versus JBL at WrestleMania 21.
Oh, that is
Coming off the John Cena
wild.
destroying of the limo, Cena getting arrested on Smackdown. JBL was such a despicable heel, such an
Horrible.
underrated heel of that era. He was so hated, which made him so good. And that match was the push of Cena. That was out of the Thugonomics mid card era. That was before Super Cena and the colorful shirts. That was right in the middle of Tribute to the Troops Cena. Coming out in the camo and black right before the push. And this is what made John Cena a superstar. This character work in this rivalry. And I think the fact that it culminated at WrestleMania made it that much bigger, and it was such a great payoff to a really bitter feud that goes under the radar over the stars of the Ruthless Aggression era, like Triple H and Undertaker and Shawn Michaels, and like even the end of Kurt Angle and Brock Lesnar. It was such and Eddie Guerrero. Oh my Lord. John Cena flew under the radar in that era, and this is what kicked him to the moon, this rivalry. And finally, my personal favorite rivalry of all time, the guy who I believed should have ended John Cena's career. This is my personal favorite match of this rivalry. I got John Cena versus Randy Orton in the I Quit match at Breaking Point in
Oh,
2009.
nice.
When Randy Orton or John Cena gets handcuffed to the turnbuckle and then puts Randy Orton in the handcuff STF. It's iconic. You don't see John Cena go into extreme rules that often. We saw it against Brock Lesnar, which was huge, but that was it wasn't a extreme match. This, like John Cena went to his limits, and we didn't really see that
One could say his
coming
breaking
into that
point.
match. One could say his breaking point. So I think Randy Orton being my favorite of all time, it holds a special place in my heart. It's right around the start of my wrestling watching days. It was one of the first rivalries that I saw on TV, and it really jump-started my love for wrestling and seeing the two top guys beat each other to a pulp with Extreme Rules. You don't see that very much. Extreme Rules is used for some stakes in the mid card to add something to a match that may not be 5 star on its own. And you didn't really see that with two of the biggest stars of the era. So I
Of the
think it was
day,
a great
even.
of the day, yeah. And I don't, it just holds a special place in my heart. It's another underrated one-on-one compared to some of the stakes Cena has had over his career, but that is my Mount Rushmore.
Whew, that was good. I genuinely overlooked some of the matches that you mentioned. I went for some of those more iconic moments. You had a couple hidden gems in there. I think we both struck a very nice balance overall.
I
Good
definitely think
lists.
so. I want to
Good
give a shout
lists.
out to the Edge matches. The Edge matches were beautifully done
Hmm.
in the mid 2000s, especially the triple threat with him and Big Show against John Cena. Even though Big Show may not have been needed to put on a 5 star match, that was iconic when John Cena lifted them both, and it really symbolized once again the kick of momentum that Cena had in the late 2000s.
Oh yeah.
So, wanted to give a shout out to Edge because I wanted him to come back just for one day. But he wasn't able to face John Cena's last year, which is kind of sour. But well, that sums up a very packed week to start off the inaugural episode of the Superkick Society. But next week's not too shabby of a agenda here on the podcast. We have our staple segments. We'll go over this week in wrestling with you guys. We'll go over the ace of the week and the flop of the week, depending on who performs on Raw, SmackDown, and over the at the other side of the pond in AEW or even TNA. If they bring out a banger or NXT, we have no limits here on the podcast. But in our specialty segments, the Mount Rushmore returning, and we're going to cover our four inductees into the Hall of Very Good. Our Hall of Very Good, our favorite mid-carders or below, if you have a special connection to some of those guys. Ryback, wink, wink.
How did
And
you know?
for our specialty segment, as we're getting close to the end of the year, we're going to bring back the Slammies. We're going to look at the
Legally distinct,
year
of
end
course.
awards, obviously.
Oh yeah.
Trademark is assumed, and we will be back with a new name. But just a year end awards segment going over some top performers, some slackers, maybe some power rankings between the networks, who knows. But with that, that closes up the inaugural episode of the Superkick Society. I've been Cam Sterling, joined by Josh Alderman. And thanks for joining us on this wonderful night.